Additional aids and services are available to individuals with disabilities. To make such a request, please contact us by email, by clicking the Help tab in the PD portal, or at pdportal@tamu.edu, by phone, including Relay Texas at 1-800-441-7323, or in writing to Train PD, PD Portal Support, 4477 TAMU, College Station, Texas 77843. Both a transcript and accessible document of the content presented in this webinar can be found as resources in the course description. Click on the blue links under Course Resources in the description. When a link is clicked, a new browser window will open.
Welcome. I'm joined today by Miss Ashley Winkle of Train PD at T-Call, and she is also the manager of the Distance Learning Call Center for the Distance Education Professional Development Center. And again, I'm Anne Marie Molinari Sanders. I'll be your host today, helping support Ashley. And I'm joined by Wendy Christensen of our team at T-Call. And I'm going to turn it over now to Ashley.
All right, awesome. Thank you. This is going to be a really interactive session. This is more going to be using Book Creator one step at a time. So it's going to be step by step. So we're going to actually kind of get into how to use Book Creator. So today we're keeping it pretty simple. We just have two objectives today, and that is going to be to utilize Book Creator in adult education and create a book using Book Creator. So our agenda is going to be, first, we're going to do a review of Book Creator, and then we are going to talk a little bit about how you could use Book Creator in adult education. And then we will spend the majority of our time focused on becoming a book creator yourself. So this is where we want to create an account, and we're going to all work together in the same library. So by the end of the session, you should be able to create your own. So first, we're going to do a very brief review of what Book Creator is. Book Creator is a user-friendly software tool designed for creating books. It's widely used in education to empower students to create and explore interactive, multimodal digital books. It combines text, images, audio, and video to share stories, knowledge, and ideas in an engaging format. But what is it really? We're going to take a look at what Book Creator can actually look like. So I'm going to show you an example of a PDF. So we've all seen a traditional PDF, but I wanted to take this and turn it into an ebook. Within a matter of moments, I was able to import her beautiful PDF, and now it is a beautiful ebook. I don't even have to do anything with it because it's already done for me. So this is what Book Creator looks like. All right, a couple more examples. This is one that I created myself, so you can create your own ebook, or you could use a template. This is an example of one that I created for our call center. This is just a training guide. The table of contents allows me to go to each page. So if I click on it, it'll take me. But you can see I created all of these. It links. I have embedded Wakelets into it. I have embedded various different tools into it. I think I've got a Padlet in it. So you could do a little of what they call app smashing. But this is basically just our trainer guide for our call center. So that just kind of gives you an example of what it looks like. It's a lot of fun to create too, I have to say. But if you don't want to create your own, they do have a number of templates that you can choose from. And this is just one that I picked. I've never used it, but this kind of gives you an idea. You could do some sort of a newspaper stand with your students, and they put in this information. You know, they can edit it however they want and use that template. So there are various different templates. That was just one I wanted to show as an example. But in addition to that, you can also remix or gain lesson ideas from someone else. They already have books made for you that you could grab. Here's one example I thought could be useful for perhaps an ESL class. This one is called the Vocabulary Notebook. It's already made, so all I would have to do is make a copy of it, kind of similar to how you use Google. and I can make the edits to it as I want, because this was probably created, I would imagine, for students, but I switched the picture already and I put a more adult student in there for the purpose of what we're doing. And, this would be a great introduction. You can put some information about the student there, and then they can practice. They can add to it different things that they can do with it. So it's already made for you. The students could practice speaking, they could practice typing, they could practice their vocabulary. Last week, we had a couple of questions come up that we did not know the answer to. So I did find a couple of things out, but some of the things that came up were, how do you change the title of a book, which I will show you a little bit more specifically later. But basically, after you've published your book, there are 3 dots where you publish it online. It's once you publish it, you can change the title. But I will show you that when we get into the how-tos in a little bit. How does sharing public versus private work? When you publish a book, you can choose whether you keep it private, which means you get a secure link to the book that you can share with whomever you like. Or you can also choose public, which means your book will appear in Google and other search engines, meaning more people will find your book and they can remix it if you want them to do that. If you don't want them, you just don't make it public. And then finally, this was the part I was a little bit sad about. How does collaborating work? Students can add books to the same library when given a code, which we're going to do that today. But unfortunately, the free version does not allow for students to collaborate on the same book. So my workaround for that would be put them in groups to work on the same book together. They don't need their own computers, especially if you're limited on computers. They could all just be working on one computer and kind of take turns with different aspects of it. Okay, so that was our quick little review. Did anybody have any questions or comments?
You answered the question from Carol, right? Is there a limit to the number of pages a book can have?
I did not answer that, but there is not a limit. What I didn't have time last week to really get into was really using Book Creator in adult education, some ideas. And of course, you guys could probably come up with even more ideas, but these are just the things that I thought of. Instructors using Book Creator. So if you yourself were creating your own book, is what I mean by this, you could create digital lessons. What do I mean? Well, you could make it like a hyperdoc, which some of you may know about, which are interactive lessons. You could do it similar to when you use Wakelet. So my thoughts on this would be that, you have a digital lesson created, or even I noticed today there's a bunch of templates that are already created, and what you could do is assign them to students in the library, and they'd make a copy of it, and then you would see their work as they're doing it. They could share a link with you, so they could make their own if you had something in mind, and they could share the link with you on Google Classroom or whatever learning management system so that you could review it. They could also do an interactive notebook, something to keep track of their work on, maybe take notes as you go through different content, so they could use it for themselves. But you could create that to get it started anyhow. Content curation, it's a great place to store things, store your links, store your ideas, kind of like a Wakelet does or a Padlet. You could use your personal book for that. Student onboarding, what a beautiful way to onboard students, especially to me. I was thinking distance learning students because everything's so digital with them anyway. But you could create your own student onboarding. It's always there for you. Instead of having the traditional paper method, you could have an onboarding to have one place for your students to have all their information, especially at the beginning of class. And in addition to that, you could also add classroom policies and rules, and then you could maybe store that book on a learning management system like Google Classroom or whatever you might use, and then the students could always refer back to it. Okay, I see a couple questions coming in. Can the students use their phone instead of computer? This is a disadvantage because this tool is not meant for a phone. I could tell you that there's one app available through an iPad, but you have to have a special account to do it. This tool is really more about developing digital literacy skills more than using it on a phone. So I could tell you, like, I've looked at a Book Creator on the phone. It looks okay, but it doesn't look as good. So that is a downside. Computers are going to be necessary. For administrators using Book Creator, again, great way to onboard staff, keeps it nice and tidy. I know when I was involved with onboarding staff at one point, a program that I worked for, it was very chaotic and it was confusing and nobody seemed to have a good system. Well, this is a beautiful way to bring all of that together and put all of your step-by-step in one place. You could also add PD expectations, requirements, because we all know how the PD rules go. You could have everything right there in one place for your staff. And then if they're working remotely, they can very easily share it with them. You could create staff policy and procedures, standard operating procedures, or great place to put your program distance learning policy and rules. And you could even import your distance learning plan into that as well. Students using Book Creator, lots of opportunity here for different activities, but here are just some. You could do, especially at the beginning of the school year, you could do an about me. You could also do what's your mission statement. That was one of my favorite lessons that I did. They create mission statements for themselves and then create a book that represents them. You could do career exploration. So you could have activities for them to go to the ONET or a website like that and then share what they learned. There's so many different opportunities there. You could create math riddles, or they create their own word problems. There we're going to really be developing our critical thinking skills. You could do a science experiment and they could record their findings in their book. Of course, you could do a daily journal as well, or you could have them create visual dictionaries to help them remember difficult words. So I'm going to kind of pause for a second and just kind of talking about some of these ideas. What skills do you see being developed through these processes, through these activities? Proper writing skills. Any opportunity we have to get them writing, we should take care of it. Carol said going to the grocery store. Okay. Sonia said creativity, vocabulary, collaboration. Great. A log of what they want to learn versus what they learned. Design and formatting, skills, spelling, keyboarding, editing. Yes, we are blending so many skills with just one activity. So they're learning the content, they're learning to share, and they're learning writing and digital literacy skills all together at once. So it's a great way to kind of integrate the digital literacy skills our students so much need into our instruction. Okay. I'm going to show you Book Creator. I think before we do this activity, I'm going to show you the Book Creator website, just so you can kind of know what to expect when you get onto the website. So if you're able to follow along on a computer, on a separate screen or something, go ahead and do that. If you're not comfortable doing that and you just kind of want to sit back and watch, you can do that as well. So the good news is that I'm sending you home with resources to help you get started. Once you're on your own, we have a lovely call center that can help you as well if you get stuck on anything. I'm entering Book Creator without being logged in right now. You will see that they're excited for back to school. They've got new templates, ideas and lessons, opportunities, all sorts of different things that you can check out. I was just kind of curious about that this morning, so I just kind of took a look to see what they had. And for teachers, we've got activity book, template, which would actually be kind of fun to do with back to school. A couple of things that Book Creator has also available to you. They have lesson plans that you can use as well. So it's not just one thing, it's a whole bunch of things. And then there's teacher resources that will give you like recommendations on how to use it, how to get started, that sort of a thing. So the first thing is you'll see that you can sign up here in the corner. When you do that, you do want to make sure that you mark that you're a teacher. I usually sign up with Google, but you have options of how you can do it. You see here that it says student sign in. Well, I want to do teacher. And then I'm going to sign in with Google. I've probably used all of my accounts already, but we will go ahead and do the Ashley student one. And then what I'm showing you right now should be an almost brand new account. It's going to ask you for a school name. I'm just going to put Texas A&M. It's likely they're not going to have your school. That's okay. You can just put add it here and click on next. It's now going to ask you what you teach. I'm just going to put other, or you can put skip. I'm not a teacher. And it asks you what subjects. I mean, they're really just doing this for data. I'm just going to put other again. And what would you like to call your library? I'm going to call it TechIntel 2023. And from here, it's going to take you to your library. But a couple of things to talk about on this dashboard. You see that if I want to create a book, I click on new book. And then I have all of these options to choose from. So I could do portrait, square, landscape. I can do the comic. What comic means is it's just a style. Or you have templates that you can choose from as well. So you have different options. So maybe I want to choose fantasy. And now I have a cool fantasy template. And you see when I click on it, I can edit it. I'm going to get more into that in a moment because I'm going to go step by step in a little bit. But I'm going to go back to my library because I want to show you a couple of other things. Right now I'm in my library. I have 40 books that I can have in my library on the free version. I can invite my students to this library by choosing the invite code. Your students will need a book creator account, and then they just use this code to get in. That would be if I was doing it as a teacher. In this case, what would have happened is, as a student, once I'm in, I would see join a library, and I would have copied and pasted that code in there. And then I would be in the library and I could create my own book. But that's the basics of the dashboard. The one thing I like to say about the dashboard is always pay attention to those lines. So the lines do things. And of course, these are your settings. You've got library settings. This is just grid mode. These are your notifications. They let you know when people have read your book and things like that. And then this is just your information. So that is the free version. I'm going to end up going to my other book creator, the one I have a temporary paid version on, but it's still the same. And I'm going to have you guys join my library. Okay, so you see, here is my library. And what I'm going to have you guys do is, if you have not done so already, I would like you to go to Book Creator. And you will want to create an account. Once you create an account, you will click on the 3 lines in the upper left corner. You will click on join a library, and then you will enter that code. Once you enter that code, you will click on new book, and then you can follow my lead as I walk you through how to do different things. All right, we're going to go ahead and move forward. First thing we are going to be looking at is getting started with libraries. So I have shown you a little bit of this already. The first thing is, we are in our TechIntel 2023. I'm in my library. Here is the code to join my library. And of course, this is how you would share with students or other teachers. And then if you want to stop new users from joining, you can just click expire the code at some point. Now, like I said, there's a limit to 40 books in a library, but you can always archive the book so that you can use it again and access them at another time. This is inviting, right? So you joining the library, I would click on those lines at the corner and click on join a library. And this is where I would enter that code. I don't know if I can join my own library, but it looks like I just did. So that's all you do. And then you're in. And so now you can create your own book. Before we do that though, just a couple of things to take notice of is this little tool sign here is our settings. You have different options that you may want people to be able to do. I have this set for searching images. You're able to do that. You can edit your own books, read each other's. This is a pro version, so you're able to collaborate with each other. Unfortunately, the free version doesn't let you do that. You can publish your books online, and you can even add comments. So those are just different settings that you can consider. You can also choose your own layout. So when you click on your new book, you can choose one of these layouts, or you can choose a template, whichever you want to do. I'm probably just going to choose a layout for right now for my modeling purposes. So here is my layout. Now I have my book. So what we're going to do from here is look at some key features on here that are very important to us. These two are very important to us. So our plus sign lets us do all sorts of fun stuff. It allows us to add images. You can do the camera where you could record yourself talking to your students. You have a pen feature that allows you to also do the auto draw, the AI thing where it'll fix your drawing for you, text, and then you can also record yourself. Because there are over 100 accessibility features in the free version, the nice thing about the video is when you record yourself, it's going to automatically put those closed captioning on there for you. And they say it's pretty accurate. I have not really tried it out too much. Other things you can do is you can add different shapes. And then the more button lets you do other things. So you can link this to Google Maps. So you could add a Google map to it. You could link it to your Google Drive. I have tried the Canva. You can actually go to Canva if you have a Canva account. It takes you straight to your own account. You can design your Canva and it puts it right on your book creator. So nice thing. You can also add files and you can embed other things to it. So if you have an embed code and you just want to embed it straight into your book creator, you're able to do that. And then next to that, we have our inspector button is what this is called. And this adds more options for you. So now you can add backgrounds. I kind of like that one. You can add a comic background. You can change the type of paper. Maybe you want line paper. You can add borders. So let's do this border. Or you could add textures if you want it. So you have different options for what you can do with your background. I'm going to go back though to my plus button and I am going to look at shapes. So if I wanted to add a shape, let's add this guy. I could add it. I can move it around. I can change it. If I go back, I can change the color. So if I go to the inspector button, it'll let me change the color, or I can add a shadow. I can add a border to it. I can make it smaller or bigger. I can bring it to the front or the back if I have other shapes with it as well. Let's just change the color because I like blue. So that's the shape. I'm going to go back to my plus button and I'm going to look at importing an image. Let's say I want to import an image. Today I'm going to do a goat. And I have all these free images available to me directly from Pixabay, so they're legal and I don't have to worry about that drama. So I'm going to see if I could find a goat that I like. He's cute, so we'll go with him. I click on him, I add him, and now here he is. And I can make him bigger or smaller, however I want to do it. That is an option. I also have my pen, so you can use different pens, but I'm going to try to do the auto. This is the little AI feature, and I'm just going to try to do like a ball. And up, it's giving me options. It's trying to figure out what is it she's trying to create. Well, I thought I was creating a ball, but let's just say I was creating a bomb. So now here's my bomb with my goat. I definitely have no theme going on here, but you can also draw around with it. Different items there. And then of course you have your undo button in the left corner. Okay, back to my plus sign. You always want to go back to your plus and your I sign to find everything. So if you ever forget where anything is, just go up to the upper right corner. You can of course add text. Awesome. It is BC. You could link it also. So you've got your link, you can underline, you can bold it. Once you're here, if you don't like the size of it, you go back to your eye and it makes it bigger and smaller, or you can, you can add background to it. You can change the color of your font. You have all different sorts of options. Recording, which I have never done, I don't think, but I can start recording. Hello, my name is Ashley. I am recording live from Tech Intel. Okay. Stop recording. And then you play it. Hello, my name is Ashley. I am recording live from Tech Intel. Okay. And then you can put your recording over here. And camera. Camera is another thing I've never done. So I'm going to allow my camera. Something went wrong. So we're not going to show you the camera, but you can play with that on your own. All right, those were the big things I wanted to show you on that section. A couple of other things. So this is just one page, right? Obviously, I want more pages than that. So let me just add a little something here. Just put some cute little ducks on there. But what you'll see is when you add pages, this is how you add them. You just go back and forth. That takes you to the front. And you can click on pages and you'll see all of your pages that you have. So if you want to see them, and you can move them, like you can grab them and you can move them around. You can make this the cover if I wanted to, but you go to those little dots and you can copy the same page, or you can move it, or you can insert a new one back here. But then once, let's just say I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the play button. And then I can see what it will look like. And then what you can see though is if I had text on there, I have read to me.
Hello, my name is Ashley.
Oh.
I am recording live from Tekken. Okay.
How awesome is BC?
So you have the option of it reading to you as well. And then I'm going to go to the dots in the upper right corner. You will see that this is where I want to publish. You can also go full screen if you want to, but you publish online. And this is a sample. And then you can make it private or public. And then I would publish. I don't think anybody really wants this book because it's not very good, but I would publish online. But it's private. So the only people who have access to it right now is basically you guys. Now, if I wanted to go back and change the title, this is where you change the title. It has to be in that publish area. So once it's done, you can just go back and change the title there. But then how do I share it? Well, I can copy the link, or I can get a QR code to share, and that actually will print it. So you could actually print it if you wanted somebody to access it that way. But then it would be from the phone. But anyway, you can copy the link. I share the link with my class or whoever's going to see it, and then they have it. Now, there is also an option. The one thing that I haven't been a fan of yet is how it looks as a PDF. You can download it though, but as you can see, this is how it downloads. So I'm not sure I'm in love with the way it downloads yet. I would probably play around with it before I utilize that too much. But there is an option to do that as well. Now we're going to look at some of the other features on here. So let's go ahead and add text. You will notice I have a microphone. Let's try our microphone off. This is speech to text. Let's see how it works. Here is my beautiful picture of these beautiful ducks, and I love them so much. And I love, love, love speech to text on Book Creator. And I'm done. And boy, was that easy. As simple as that. So speech to text. So lots of accessibility options. The camera I can't show you because I'm using the camera, so that's not going to work. Creating a transcript. You come over here. There is a way to create a transcript for it as well. I'm going to have to play around with it to remember how to do it. Different options though for that. Okay, will the students use the same code all the time, or does it change? It's up to you. You are in control of the code. If you want to expire it, you can. If you want to expire it because you're just completely done with that activity, what you could do is just archive your library, and then you could use it again in the future. Of course, I am talking about the free version of this. Does it correct spelling as it goes? Yeah. They say they have keyboard navigation as well. That is just another one of the accessibility features. What I recommend doing is I have put together for you resources that you could take with you. I would definitely explore them because, like I said, they have over 100 accessibility resources just on the free version. So it's worth going and kind of exploring what you can do, especially to meet the needs of all of our students. But those are the basics of making the book. Let me just show you a couple of other things on Book Creator that are kind of cool. I'm going to go back. Here's my library, and I see everybody's got stuff going on here. Let's see what this is. All right, so I see people are kind of exploring. Yeah, that's another thing. You can add layouts as well. I forgot to mention that. Let me go back to my silly one. And if I went over here and I created a new page, mine disappeared. Oh, you know why? It's the type of layout. She chose comics, so let me just show that. If we go to this one, and you can do it portrait view, or you can do it like this one. It has two sides of the page. If I click on the plus sign here, you'll see that I have these different options. So I can do this and I can have this layout if I want on that page. And then on the next page, I could choose a different one. Or you can add these fun little things, might be kind of fun. Create a comic strip type of a thing, something like that. Tiffany, I checked on adding templates of graphic organizers. There was only one free template, but a workaround would be to make the template of Canva and upload it as a background. That's a good idea. Yeah, you can definitely integrate Canva into this and make templates as well. A couple of other things, I just kind of want to show some other features on Book Creator. When I click on those lines, you'll see I have other things going on here. You can go to Discover. They've created a little toolkit for you. These are books to remix, so these are already made for you. Here are some Book Creator templates, my digital library. You saw the vocabulary, already things that are here. Here's a little road trip.
This year, we decided to go on a road trip through the United States.
So that's pretty cool. They took a road trip and they're documenting it on Book Creator. That's kind of fun. But other things that you can also discover on this page is they've got examples here done by grade. Obviously, we don't have kindergartners, but we could take a look at middle school, probably through high school. And if nothing else, we can always steal their ideas. You can supercharge your lessons. These are ideas from others. And then I love this down here. You can browse all libraries by language. We've got different languages, collections, and subjects. In the Learn section, if you're not somebody who's feeling very confident right away, you can go through their certification. I did it. It's pretty cool. It's very easy. They're just short video clips and you can just follow along with it. But they also have all of these different tools for you to explore, but they also have weekly webinars. So there's a lot of opportunity there to learn more. And then they also have the apps that we were talking about. These all integrate into them. So I was talking about the Canva app. If you use Bitmojis, you could add Bitmojis, you could add Giphies, graphic organizers. I have not tried the majority of these. I've only tried Canva, but I just kind of wanted to share those with you. Okay, does anybody have any questions or ideas? How do you see using Book Creator in your program? It doesn't have to be in the classroom. It could be in your program, in your life, with your kids, anything at all. While you guys are thinking, I will show you the handout that we have for you. Tiffany also said virtual orientation books. That's an excellent idea. Camilla, I can use it to study for my classes or for class projects. Yes. Gloria said, I'll check out the English language writing group of books already made for ideas. The other thing is you could probably just go into a book that's already made and you could use it for reading and speaking practice. No reason to reinvent the wheel if it's already made, right? Amanda says, I like it for program handbooks.
When you went to the teacher resources where you got all that, you can't access that until you create an account, correct?
That's correct. There's a couple
Okay.
things you can, but the majority of it you cannot. The good news is the account is free and it doesn't take too long to create. Michelle, go for it.
Yes. Are the pages interactive in the way that the person that's looking at the book can actually maybe color on the page?
That's where we have to get a little creative. So if we had the paid version, yes. If it's your own and you created it and you shared it with whoever and you have the free version, they could not interact with your book. But if they create their own book like we did today in the library, then they could. And that, of course, is with the free version. Other things I would recommend doing is you could always put activities on there that would allow them to engage. So say you wanted to make it like a digital lesson and you wanted to do an assessment, you could embed a Google form in there. So you could check their understanding. They could complete the Google form and do everything directly from the Book Creator. So there's a lot of opportunity, but to answer your question, the collaboration feature, yes, if we had the paid version, no, with the free version. Michelle said, for my internationally trained professionals course, the students have a capstone project where they present a portfolio. Most have made those using slides, Prezi, or PowerPoint, but I think this would be way better. I agree. Tiffany said I had to write a paper for my capstone. The class was even a technology integration program. This would have been way better. So we have shared our digital handout with you for the book creators. So I made a little book creator for you. I included my information. So what I did is I imported my digital business card in there. I linked it as well, so you could click on it to go to there. But I also embedded a video from a couple of my favorite presenters. They're talking about book creator, but I also created a book creator guide for you guys with Wakelet. And I've got book creator YouTube channel, creating choice boards with book creator and converting a book creator to an EPUB, some information on that. If you need help immediately, of course, do not forget that we have a call center. Call center is here for you for these specific types of things. If you are challenged with any sort of ed tech tools, we are here to help you with those things. So if you have a problem, you don't remember how to do something, give us a call. We can help you with that as well. So you can call us with any of your things that you do after Tech and Tells and Tech Playgrounds, because that's what the call center is here for. Like I said, you can always access this later when we have it on the PD portal. And please, if you know teachers, please refer them to this once it's out, because I think this is a really useful tool to use for teachers and students. Even when we don't have computers, maybe we can use it ourselves when we have a chance. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This has become definitely one of my top 5 ed tech tools. So I love it.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being here. It's been awesome. And I just thank her so much for being back. And everybody, thank you. All right, everybody, take care.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed this pre-recorded webinar. After you have passed the final test with a score of 80% or greater and have received your certificate of completion, please take a few moments to complete the course evaluation. Participant feedback helps Train PD at TCall continue to provide high-quality professional development. To leave a course feedback, please go to the completed portion of your transcript. To do this, hover over the My Learning tab and select View Your Transcript. Click on the drop-down arrow next to the word Active and select Completed. Then, click Evaluate in the drop-down menu next to the course you just completed. Please note that your feedback is greatly appreciated.